Hey there Cosmic Warriors, and welcome back to another video. Okay, so in today's video we are going to be taking a look at the compatibility. So looking at the love and anger compatibility between both Gemini versus Pisces. Now I recommend watching this video if you happen to have your Sun, your Moon, your Mars, your Venus, and even your Mercury within either of these two signs, because of course Mercury is all about communication, and communication is pretty important whenever it does come to compatibility. However, before we do get started, if you would like to know more information all about compatibility within astrology, along with your Venus sign as well as your Libra house and your 7th house within your natal birth chart, then I have created a Libra season/archetype ebook. So what I am going to do is I'm going to provide a link to that ebook in the description box below so that you can pick up your copy today. Okay then, so with all those introductions out of the way, Gemini or Pisces versus Gemini, let's do this. Okay, so the first thing to keep in mind whenever it comes to these two signs is that they are making what's called a square aspect between one another within the zodiac wheel. And what square aspects can represent is that they can represent criticisms, tensions, pressures, and conflicts. But what I want to do is I not only want to go into these conflicts and pressures and so on, but I also want to address how these two signs can actually come together within a union into a relationship overall. So with that being said, let's get into the attraction side of things. What is it that may cause an attraction between these two signs to begin with? Let's imagine that they meet in school, or they maybe meet in a social gathering. What can happen is that the Pisces may look to the Gemini and see this person who seems to be communicating their thoughts and opinions about things very well. They're able to articulate themselves very well. The Pisces may look at that and think, wow, this person knows a lot. But then also I think that a Gemini, if for example the Pisces is maybe more of that introverted Pisces or a little bit more shy, you know, not all Pisces are necessarily shy, but if they do give this shyness to them, which they may more experience within a school setting, because I feel that a Pisces type of person, they're not going to plunge themselves forward into a big group scenario or social setting. They're just kind of sit back a little bit and just kind of see how it goes and feel into it more. So if that Gemini sees that Pisces, they may pick up then, because Geminis can be quite observant people. They may pick up on the Pisces being like that, and they may approach that Pisces and then start speaking with the Pisces. Either or, whoever approaches who, they start communicating, and there is this, I feel, because both of them are highly adaptable signs, and even with their symbology, you know, with Pisces and the two fish, Gemini with the twins, you know, they can bounce back and forth between one another with many ideas and concepts and theories about a lot of stuff, you know. So there can be that vibrancy and a lot of energy that they bring, and they're going to stimulate each other. But the stimulation from each side may be different. So whilst a Gemini may desire to be stimulated mentally, whereas a Pisces may seek to be more stimulated emotionally. Okay, now that's not to say that a Pisces doesn't like being mentally stimulated. I also think that Pisces can be very in their heads as well. They also can kind of ponder and wonder about a lot of things, and just they can live in their heads too, just like the Gemini. But I think that the Pisces wants more than just that mental stimulation. You know, they want to go way deeper. And yes, a Gemini can go deeper, but maybe not to the depths that a Pisces wants the Gemini to go. So right off the bat, what we're noticing is a lot of excitement, okay? There's a lot of excitement between the two signs. But if it gets to a point where a Gemini can't really deliver to the Pisces what the Pisces really yearns for on a deeper emotional level, then there may be a bit of conflicts here. But then also, I think that a Pisces, they can more feel into their words, and they can have their imagination and kind of have the vision. Like, there can be visions in their mind, and they may want to articulate that vision, but they may actually find it difficult to completely articulate it the way that they want to. Now, the good thing about this is that Gemini, they can do that very well. They're both highly creative, very creative signs. So a Gemini may be more likely to be good at writing down what they're thinking, writing down the vision, writing down the idea, like getting it out there into words. Whereas Pisces, they may have it more, it's more symbolic to them, and they feel it more, and it's there, but trying to like bring it out may be a bit challenging. So in this instance, a Gemini may be really good at picking up on those symbols that the Gemini or the Pisces has, and then being able to articulate what that Pisces envisions. But things can get a bit complex if, let's say for example, the two of these signs are maybe going on a few dates, they're starting to get to know each other, and the Pisces says something, or they elaborate on a particular idea that they have. The Gemini may pick up on what the Pisces is saying, and through their logical frame of thought, they may think that they understand logically, they can make sense of what the Pisces means, but they may not. The Pisces may say something like, no, but that's not what I meant though. And then the Gemini may be a little bit confused. No, but surely that must be what you meant. Like, that's how it processes logically in my brain. And then the Pisces may respond still, but no, that I feel this, I feel that way. This is really what I meant by that. But then miscommunications can arise here, because whilst Pisces is feeling a certain way, they are wanting to express themselves through their own kind of filters, then the Gemini isn't maybe picking up on it very well. But likewise, there may be conflicts if, say for example, the two of these signs are out on a date together, and the Gemini will say what they think, right? It's just right off the cuff, this is what I think, this is the information I've learned, this is what I'm going to say. But if the Pisces, see, Pisces can sort of read between the lines a little bit better for people. If they manage to seek out hidden facets within the Gemini subconscious, or they start to read into the Gemini's words a little bit too much, where they then maybe say something to the Gemini, oh well, that's not what you meant the other day, or oh well, I thought it was something else, or but I feel like you're saying that, but there's something else going on deep inside of you that maybe you're not letting on here, Gemini. And if then that happens, then the Gemini is going to feel misunderstood. So with this instance, that Pisces may be trying to dive deeper into the Gemini's words, into their own subconscious, but if the Gemini doesn't want the Pisces to do that, the Gemini maybe doesn't want to get into those murky, darker parts of their psyche, then of course there can maybe be a bit of conflict and tensions between the two of them. And this even leads me on to other potential conflicts, especially when it comes to communication between these two signs, okay? What I mean by this is that they may both lose focus, concentration, they may both get bored pretty easily. They can both be listening for a little while, which I think Pisces may be a better listener in comparison to the Gemini a little bit, though still they can be having a discussion and then both of them may just check out, or they may see something else that distracts them from the conversation at hand. And so because of that, then both of them may struggle to actually properly listen to each other. And if they do not listen to each other, then of course this can result in both of them being misunderstood, or both of them getting irritated and really agitated by each other. See, both of these signs can be a little bit scattered, especially if the Pisces person is going through their moods, and that is impacting their ability to focus and concentrate on other things within their lives. And also, if that Gemini is maybe in a situation where things are a bit chaotic for them, where maybe they have to fill in a really serious report, or they have to meet a certain deadline for work that they need to complete, and then that just throws them off and it makes them quite scattered as well. And so by them both coming together with their separate things going on, then them meeting in the middle may be hard to come to some sort of common ground. Now, speaking about this, right, we have to sort of give this context. So let's say, for example, that a Pisces is in a stage in their lives where maybe they're just started university, or maybe they're going on to college. They don't really know exactly what they want to do. They just know that they have to choose a certain subject, and they can sort of choose a subject, and then if they feel like that subject doesn't sit well with them, then their focus levels in that certain subject can just go down, and then they may want to just leave it, or they may then start to feel like it's very overwhelming, like it's a lot of responsibility, it's a lot of extra weight. So if they meet a Gemini during this stage in their lives, that can bring a lot of just chaotic behavior into the relationship. I mean, even that Gemini, they may see that Pisces and just think like, I don't even know how to take you, I'm not sure what you want even, like. And then the Gemini may start to go back and forth, and then they get indecisive about it as well. It's like, do I not, what should I do? But then likewise, if a Gemini is in a stage of their lives where they are trying to select their university degree or their subject, or they're thinking about how they're going to earn money and jobs and careers and everything else, then they may also be a little bit like back and forth, indecisive. Do I want this? Do I not want this? I'm a bit confused about this. And so them also meeting a Pisces during that time, it can bring a lot of confusion as well. So you see, I think from how indecisive they can be, depending on what is going on and decisions that they have to make, especially decisions like university and work and big monumental kind of moments in their lives, then them two coming together into union can just cause just a lot of disruption. But let's actually switch up the context here again, because if, for example, these two are in a committed relationship, we could say here that the Pisces is working within the health industry, or with people who have mental health issues, or maybe they're doing a bit of counseling or psychological help or therapy. But then we also have the Gemini, and maybe they're in a role where they are a teacher, or they're an advisor, or maybe they are helping people with their studies. They could both be in their individual roles where there is stability. There is some sort of money coming in. They have more direction. They know what they're kind of doing, okay? That's stabilized a bit better. Them two coming together into a union can create just a lot of fun, you know, a lot of childlike behavior, a lot of bouncing their ideas back and forth, you know, Pisces bringing everything they learn from work, but then also Gemini bringing things that they learn from work, and then both of them like exchanging information about the research that they've learned. So I think that there can be a lot of stimuli that the two of them can exchange, which can be really good for the relationship. However, if, for example, a Pisces then gets themselves into their darker frames of thought, they maybe are feeling the weight from their job, the pressures from the job. Doesn't necessarily have to be the jobs that I just said there, but they're bringing the workload into their personal life and they're starting to feel all of that and it's weighing them down. If they're in that kind of way, then a Gemini might find it hard to sort of get to the Pisces. A Gemini, for example, may try to come to the Pisces and really want to talk about it. But if that Pisces doesn't want to talk about it, they just want to be on their own, then it would be a good idea for, I suppose, the Gemini to give the Pisces a little bit of space and time until they're ready. But then likewise, I think that a Gemini can also get to a point where they too need their space. They also need to just have their time alone, like to recharge their batteries, their energy as well. I mean, they're picking up a lot of stimuli too, and so it's good for their own mental health to do that. But if that Pisces is maybe more wanting the loving, you know, that connectedness with the Gemini, when the Gemini is in that way, then that can also be a little bit difficult. So what I'm trying to get to here is that there can just be like this up and down roller coaster, you know, energy, and you don't really know what you're going to get day by day between the two of them. And so Gemini may be riding a good wave or in a good mood, but then Pisces isn't, but then Pisces may be in that good wave and that good mood, but then Gemini isn't. So how they try to meet in the middle, these things may need to be discussed. So this sort of give and take that's required within a relationship, they may need to really talk about that. Another big thing I think to mention here as well is that Pisces can be a lot more spiritually inclined, okay? So a Pisces may sort of have these visions or these insights into the future. They may have premonitions, they may have a feeling that something is going to happen, and it's a feeling, right? It is a feeling and it's very strong. But then for a Gemini may be more about, well, what's the scientific research? What's the evidence? Let's actually get really clear about this. Let me see the facts, the figures. Let's make logical sense out of this. So in this sort of instance, if there was a particular situation or scenario to arise where maybe the Pisces is trying to communicate to the Gemini, but I feel this way, like I need to be careful, or there's something, like I can feel it, I just know. But then the Gemini is looking at the Pisces as if to say, but yeah, you can feel that all you want, Pisces, but that doesn't mean it's the reality. Like, that doesn't mean that. But then likewise, you know, furthering on from this point, Pisces could really just have a really vivid dream that just impacts them so emotionally, or even maybe drains them completely, that they just need, like, they need time on their own, or even they may try to communicate to the Gemini, I had this dream, this would happen. You know, the Gemini would be really good at communicating with the Pisces about it and being curious about the dream. But if the Gemini kind of throws back at the Pisces like, oh, you're just so disillusioned, or like, are you sure, or you shouldn't just believe everything you dream about, you know, that type of stuff may then annoy the Pisces. See, Gemini types or Gemini energy, it's just more about the clear research. Like, this is it, this is what I've learned, this is concrete clarity, this is my insights, this is what I think, this is what I know, this is what I've learned. And so there can be this tendency of them sort of shutting down the more outwardly unexplained ideas that the Pisces brings. And I also think that if a Pisces is unaware of their own limitations, where maybe they are giving a lot to other people, maybe they're not aware that they're giving a lot to other people, they're sort of overextending themselves. If a Gemini picks up on that, and a Gemini can make logical sense of that in their brains, and they go to the Pisces and they explain to the Pisces, I don't think what you're doing is fair, or I don't really agree with it. Have you ever thought of something else? Let's bring something new into the mix here, Pisces. If that Pisces doesn't really see it, then again, there may be potential conflicts. But then likewise, if perhaps the Gemini, maybe they are seeking more stimulation, or maybe they're seeking certain things that they want from the Pisces, that the Pisces, yes, the Pisces can be very good at being whoever you want them to be. And in that way, they can sort of morph and mold into different versions of themselves to suit other people. So can the Gemini. But if the Gemini was to sort of request certain things from the Pisces would try to deliver. But even that Pisces may get to a point where then they start messing up. They start making mistakes or overlooking certain things. Then that Gemini may then see that and think, oh my gosh, Pisces, why are you overlooking this? Why are you not getting this? And again, more conflicts, more miscommunication can arise between the two of them. So there can just be a lot of irrational and scattered energy that can come from these two signs being in a relationship. So that's why it is good for them to ground themselves a bit more, or to find some sort of solidity and stability within the relationship together. Now, in terms of affection, I feel that their affection towards one another, that can even be misrepresented or misunderstood a little bit as well. Because whilst we have Pisces who can be more idealistic, and they may sort of have their own visions in their mind of what they want the relationship to be like, and they want it to be in their sort of bubble with that other person, if they sort of project certain things onto the Gemini for the Gemini to perform in terms of affection, and the Gemini is maybe not aware, maybe they're kind of even off in their own heads a little bit, or maybe that Gemini has a million other things that they have to attend to whilst the Pisces is wanting their attention, then that can deter a little bit from the Gemini giving the Pisces the affection that the Pisces is wanting. But then likewise, the way that a Gemini shows their affection towards a Pisces can be pretty different. So for example, a Gemini may be teasing them, maybe playing around, being childlike, flirty with the Pisces. Maybe they say something to the Pisces that the Pisces reads through, takes it personally, takes it to heart, is a little bit disheartened by what the Gemini just said. So basically what I'm trying to get to is that a Pisces may be a little bit offended sometimes by how a Gemini shows affection, but then also a Gemini may feel a little bit smothered, or like they can't give the Pisces what they need in terms of affection. However, that's not to say that both of them can't show their affections towards one another, because let's say for example they're both on the sofa, they're watching television, you know, they're just chilling out together and they're all loved up together. They may watch certain movies that really do, for one, get into the Pisces imagination, and two, get into the Gemini's mind of exploration and fun. So they could be playing video games together, watching movies together, and they could be elaborating on different creative ideas that they have about the things that they're watching together. But then likewise, when it comes to food, they may enjoy just chilling out on the sofa eating food together. So Pisces with their love for indulgence in terms of foods that they like. But then also Gemini, a Gemini may have certain foods that are a bit childlike by nature, you know, like certain gummies and sweets that they may like to pick out and eat. So yeah, the two of them coming into a sort of loved up situation may just enjoy cuddling, watching something at the same time, eating also at the same time, even drinking teas and coffees together, you know, flipping Gemini with their caffeine rushes, and also flipping Pisces with their substances, you know, so looking to caffeine as a particular substance here. And furthering on from this point, oh my gosh, if the both of them decide, let's write a song, let's do something creative, let's write poetry together, let's just create like a movie or a story, or let's go out and make up a certain game together. You know, there can be so much creativity that both of them can bring, and they can just heighten each other's creativity and their imagination, and through that they can gain a lot of knowledge and wisdom. Seriously, the two of these signs could just be walking along the beach one day and then Gemini says, hey, I have an idea. let's play a game. And then Pisces says, yeah, okay, let's play a game. And then they're just playing word games. And then Pisces just says something really random from their imagination because of things that they're seeing around them, or because of stories that they knew from when they were younger. And then the Gemini is like, where did that even come from, Pisces? Ha 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 ha. Gemini says to the Pisces, Pisces, you're so weird. You're so weird. And the Pisces is like, yeah, Gemini, but you're so funny. You're so mischievous. Okay, so now we have looked at the love and romance and courtship. Let's now look at anger. Now what I want you to imagine is that the both of them are chilling out at home and they're watching television together. And they're both watching a comedy show that both of them really enjoy. They're laughing together, they're having a lot of fun, and it's great, it's a good time. But then what ends up happening is the Gemini may have a tendency of just talking a lot during that show. And if that Pisces was to say something to the Gemini that maybe offends the Gemini, and the Gemini may have a comeback to the Pisces. Now the Pisces may have been quite passive and a bit gentle in how they approach the Gemini, but the Gemini still may not have clicked on to that. Maybe to the Gemini it's just, well, you said it, so this is how I'm taking it. And then the Gemini may respond to the Pisces and it's something that hurts the Pisces' feelings. Then this could just turn into a back and forth argument. Gemini being offended a little bit by how the Pisces is making it out that all the Gemini does is talking during the program, and that's not what the Gemini thinks. Oh my gosh, you can't tell me what to do. But then also the Pisces just feeling really misunderstood and quite vulnerable in this position because they weren't meaning anything by it, you know, they really weren't trying to offend the Gemini, but now the Gemini feels offended and now it's all getting too much. And then both of them are being irrational, they're being quite chaotic, they're just arguing, and this can even possibly result in the Gemini just saying some really harsh words like daggers to the Pisces that gets the Pisces right in their feeling. Could even possibly result in the Pisces lashing out, you know. Pisces energy can have this real like intensity to it that if you get to a certain point, they can almost go, you know, it's almost like Jekyll and Hyde. But then also it can kind of be like Jekyll and Hyde with Gemini as well, you know. There can just be these two sides to these two signs that if you get to that darker side, you gotta run. You know, you gotta run. It really can depend on how far they both take it. But I think that what the huge issue is here for the two of them is just their inability to be able to focus and listen. I was saying earlier about listening. They have trouble actually properly listening to each other. And so the more stimuli, the more things get chaotic and confusing, the more things they're having to juggle. You know, Gemini's trying to think about all of it. Pisces is trying to feel through all of it, and it just becomes too much. But if we were to also switch this scenario, so another situation could arise where, for example, the Pisces has their rent money, okay? They have their rent money and they are bringing it home because it's due. But what ends up happening is that they lose it. You know, Pisces people can have the tendency of losing their bank cards, their keys, their phone. They can just misplace a lot of stuff. So they misplace their rent money and they come home. But you know what? The Pisces doesn't even let on to the Gemini that they misplaced it. They don't even let on. They don't say a single word, because that's another thing. Pisces may not say whenever they've messed up, because they don't want to hurt the other person's feelings. And also, they're afraid of how the other person may react to them then. And then that would result in the Pisces feelings getting hurt. So the Pisces may not say a single word. Gemini asks the Pisces about it. But the Pisces then maybe, let's say for example, they have a way of, you know, getting around the direct answer. That's another thing. Pisces may have the tendency of not exactly like saying it, but kind of going around it, because they, again, feelings are going to be triggered here. They're trying to walk on eggshells around the Gemini a little bit. If that Gemini picks up that the Pisces is walking on eggshells, they're not being true, they're not being honest with the Gemini may then, they may go at the Pisces and may ask them loads of questions. It can turn into this almost interrogation, but the Gemini wants to know the truth. They want the realness, like, be real with me, right? Gemini energy's like, yeah, I can be silly and I can be funny and I can be lighthearted and I can be childlike, but when the serious stuff comes to it, we gotta be serious, you know? There's that duality again. Let's talk about it right now. You do not lie to a Gemini. They do not like liars. Yes, Gemini may tell a few white lies here and there, but when it's the real stuff, it's like, right, let's do this, let's talk about it. If that Pisces then is not being honest with that Gemini may just, again, just go off. And then again, more arguments. There may be emotional manipulation from the Pisces to the Gemini. The Gemini may pick up on the emotional manipulation from the Pisces to them. There may even be a tendency of the Pisces trying to run away, trying to escape, turn to certain substances and drugs. You know, this could even be a situation where the Pisces decides, I'm just gonna not pick up my phone for a few days or a few hours or whatever have you, and then the Gemini's worried. Gemini can also have the tendency of just kind of being flighty, but I think it really depends on who is at fault or what has happened. Therefore, it would be really good for both of these signs, both of them to be honest, you know? So for Pisces to be honest with Gemini in these situations, just to say it, even if it maybe makes them look bad, even if it hurts the other person's feelings, you know? Okay, feelings are going to get hurt. It's okay. Like, it's not the point, you know? It doesn't seem fair to withhold information from someone because you're afraid of that other person's feelings getting hurt. You know, you could even be doing a lot more harm to that person by not sharing it, which could then actually hurt their feelings more in the long run. So Pisces has to become aware of this. But then likewise, it also would be beneficial for a Gemini maybe not to give in to those little white lies that they do either, because if they do that and a Pisces picks up on that, then a Pisces can even use that against the Gemini at a later stage. Okay then, Cosmic Warriors, so that concludes my video on the love and anger compatibility between both Gemini versus Pisces. Now, if you do happen to have any thoughts and opinions on today's video, then please be sure to let us know in the comment section down below. But with all that being said, thank you so much for watching, thank you for subscribing, and of course, if you would like to see more videos from myself and you have not yet subscribed, then go right ahead and click that subscribe button. And I will be back with another video very, very soon. Bye!